Hello and welcome to Hearthstone, How to Level Up Fast. This is for September 2015. I do a video called this Hearthstone, How to Level Up Fast. Do it every month, so if you just type that in with my username, then you should find a video like this every single month. And this is the one for September. So in this one, in previous ones I've gone through like 2 or 3, normally 2 decks. I'm going to get through a few more, maybe 4 or 5. Because I've been playing a lot of different decks. Currently playing about rank 7 or 8, so yeah, I mean that's the sort of guideline. Most of these decks are going to work at that level, and you know, mileage may vary lower levels, but they're all pretty good decks. This is a Malygos Warlock sort of deck. You see, it doesn't really feature too many of the new cards. This one really being the only one. I guess not even. And yeah, it's a good deck though. What I would say is obviously Zombie Chow is very good early game. If you get Blackwing Technician in that, one thing I will say, right, because of the way this deck is, if you get either Malygos or Emperor Tharisan in your hand at the beginning, it's probably best to hang on to it, because you can't be assured. You don't know what the length of the game will be, and it's probably best to actually hang on to that. To either of those cards, because obviously if you can get Malygos out, and you've got, say, even if you've got Dark Bomb or Soulfire in hand, the Dark Bomb is going to be +5, so it's going to be 8 damage. The Soulfire is going to be +5, it's going to be 9 damage. So yeah, so that's going to be almost a guaranteed. You know, that's 17 damage right off the bat if you can pull that off. But it's not that usual that you actually be able to pull that off. Not that many games where you actually do that, but obviously it's pretty great when you do. Really, what this deck is about, it's like controlling when if you're in a position where you're quite late game, you're probably going to win if you've got Malygos and if you've got some maybe Dark Bomb or Soulfire. Obviously, if you've got Soulfire and Mortal Coil obviously can be played without any Tharisan kind of action. So yeah, but what I would say is, obviously because it's a dragon deck, now there's a lot of dragon decks coming. I mean, you have to always keep in mind what the dragons in the deck actually are. So there's not actually that many. So if we look through the deck, we can see that the only dragons in the deck, we've got Twilight Guardian, the Azure Drake, and Malygos. So pretty much any time you get a dragon in the opening hand, I'd say to keep it. And obviously you want to keep the Blackwing Technician. You really don't want to play any cards without a buff. Perhaps you can defend a Twilight Guardian that hasn't been buffed, but it's not really ideal. And of course you do want to try to hang on to Dark Bomb. So early game, I would say the sort of cards you want to play are cards like Implosion. And yeah, and that's pretty good. Obviously, when you one really good combination that I've used several times is if you've got, say, a Blackwing Technician out. You can say you've got a Blackwing Technician out. What you can do is you could do a Implosion with the Defender of Arbor. So that's a very, very strong play, because then you're going to get that 2/2, and the Blackwing Technician then becomes a Druid of the Claw. So you can see that Druid of the Claw would normally, so that particular behaviour in the middle of the game, I find is what often leads to winning. Obviously you've got the it's a heal deck, so I would say draw pretty hard early on, because the double heal bot is pretty good health recovery, and yeah, you can alleviate some of the pain from the hero power by using Mortal Coil as well, of course. I'm Big Owl normally is good for finisher, but yeah, Twilight Guardian is a really, really strong card. It's been played in many decks. And yeah, obviously if you can get that in your opening hand, You know, often, I think recently getting a good 4-drop is very useful, because the thing is, you probably are going to take a decent amount of damage at the beginning anyway. If you can coin into Twilight Guardian and get a 3/6 taunt, obviously if you compare that to, you know, like Senjin Shieldmaster, which is 3/5, or the Fen Creeper, which is also 3/6 but for 5 mana, so it's obviously a significantly better card than either of those. But yeah, very fun to play this sort of deck. This is the kind of I think Malygos is actually very well suited for this class. Okay, so the next deck I'm going to look at, let's try Priest. So I've got a few decks here that, so yeah, so a couple of new cards in here. So yeah, there's a couple, like, because there's not, the thing is, right, there's not really that many new cards that are any good with the Grand Tournament. Yeah, it's very much a lot of the old cards are good, and there's also a thing, like especially with this deck, that it used to be quite a classic sort of way to play Priest. You would do Divine Spirit in a fire. That'd be a very sort of classic thing to do. But obviously, you can see with this deck, there's cards from each generation actually of updates. So yeah, the new cards, obviously we've got Holy Champion and Tournament Medic. And the combos you can get from this are pretty incredible, really, because they really do work very, very well together. So if you've got both of these cards out, what you obviously do, you can. So for instance, say you've got the Holy Champion out and the Tournament Medic out. What you can do, of course, is you can actually do multiple buffs to it. There's obviously always going to be the Circular Healing, right? But beyond that, but the real combo here, and the real combo that I guess shows that you know, the real thing you want to do with these is if you heal a minion with Tournament Medic on the board, what will happen is you'll heal the minion. This will become a 5/5, and then the Inspire Power will trigger, and it will become a 7/5. So you'll get that. So that double heal, so you can see the really useful behavior of the double heal. With this deck, I would say the real card you're looking for is, of course, Deathlord. Once you get Deathlord out, you're in pretty good shape. And with a Priest deck like this, really what it's about having you know, just a few but very, very strong minions with high health, and then you wouldn't just put both. You know, for instance, if you've got a Power Word Shield and a Velen's Chosen, you wouldn't want to put them on the same minion. You would want to put them on alternate minions. I wouldn't say it's particularly important which ones you do, but yeah, you want to put those on alternate. Pyromancer is going to be very useful for board clear as well, because the advantage with this, obviously, Powered Shield is very nice on Pyromancer. Obviously, if you've got a muster for battle, then you're going to be able to deal with that very effectively. But also keep in mind that the Pyromancer really will be able to do a lot more than that. To use it really at its fullest, you want to, you can clear a board with stuff with 3 health. And obviously you probably don't want like shades down. But then again, because they're often stealth, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's a pretty good deck though. Obviously, thing is with Northshire Cleric, another important thing is often you don't really want to get that down until you can protect it in some way. Even though it's I suppose it's kind of obvious, but yeah, don't just put it down to get killed by a Fiery War Axe, or even against a Hunter, the Quick Shot card. That's gonna take that out each time. And yeah, but obviously it's a deck about healing. So if you can get to late game and you're getting various different heals, Lightwell is also a very good card. You see, you're not always going to be able to get. Obviously, it's nice to think, oh yeah, well I'm going to get my Deathlord and I'm going to Powered Shield it, and then I'm going to Divine Spirit twice, and then I'm going to Inner Fire twice. Well, you don't need to Inner Fire once. Yeah, you only need to inner fire once. Don't inner fire this thing. That's not a good idea, because you won't really need to do that. In fact, if you did do that, yeah, you're probably gonna end up actually making it worse. Villain's Chosen, pretty useful though. I like to put Villain's Chosen on Deathlord, also on Zombie Chow, not too bad. So yeah, there's lots of good plays you can make with this, and obviously if you get the shade out early, you can unleash it many turns later. So yeah, very cool deck. But yeah, if you're going to really make the big plays with the Divine Spirit in a fight, you better win at that point, because otherwise, you know, it's very likely you could get big game hunted. So yeah, there's no point really going for it unless you've got lethal really. But like I say, something like a light well, an inner fire on a light well to get 5/5, I'd suggest is pretty good play. And yeah, and obviously you can get it out pretty early as well. And the advantage over putting that inner fire on Deathlord, so if it does go down, you're not going to have to deal with something which is going to be difficult to deal with. But then again, you can do have the Faceless for something like that. There's the Priest. So what other decks can we look at? Yeah, I think we'll go for 4 decks. We're going to go for the Hunter now. Alright, so this is the Hunter deck. This is a pretty cool deck, as you can see. New cards, a little bit more on the way of new cards for this one. Got the Wrangler, King's Elect, and Bear Trap, and Power Shot. So yeah, so a few new cards in this one, and again, pretty cool deck. Plays with the classics: Hornet Creeper, Knife Juggler, but it got quite a few new tricks as well. Obviously, double Hunter's Mark, quite unusual. But yeah, because of the low attack, I will have to mention is there's one. Sometimes you can get some incredible plays out of the Hyena, or more often than not, you're going to get a buffed Hyena. Buffed Hyena obviously works very well with Snake Trap. Yeah, I've had some very funny plays against Paladin actually, where I got because the Scavenging Hyena, it is an interesting ascendancy. It goes to a 4/3, then a 6/4, then an 8/5, then a 10/6, then a 12/7. And I managed to get all the way up to 12/7 at a turn 3 or 4. And the reason for that was because I got the snakes out, and then then the Paladin Seeker was a redemption, and it redeemed the 1/1, which just led to even further buffs. So obviously there'd been much about. Yeah, you can probably predict exactly what the turns of just by that information. But yeah, you can get something really. But yeah, this card though is very, very strong indeed. You can get some really good stuff out of it. So yeah, I mean, even if you just got like a 1/1, you know, these 1/1s are very, very useful because they obviously just purely based on the fact they're beasts. So obviously, even look at that turn 9. You've just got a 1/1 on the board. They might have a much stronger board. You get the Wrangler and a Houndmaster. So you're going to get three extra minions, and there's a good chance you get something decent as well. So yeah, Power Shot is obviously the weaker form of Explosive Shot. Not that much weaker though, considering a lot of decks nowadays they're not playing big minions. So that 5 damage on the Explosive Shot, not really that much better really. But yeah, obviously you want to get the Mad Scientist is always good to get out early, and Bear Trap is very, very useful. If you're getting kind of rushed down at the end, but you can see lethal for yourself, then it may be the thing that just stops their turn getting that. King's Lake is also a very good card, and it's useful at the moment. Obviously, if you're playing against decks with a lot of high cost minions, you're probably going to lose that one. But it wins more often than not at the moment anyway. Like I say, September 2015, so it may change. And yeah, Unleashed Hands, obviously, classic nice Dragon play. And yeah, I mean, with Eagle Horn, I would say just don't. Yeah, I mean, it's just 5 damage each turn, really. Obviously, if you can get it to trigger, then that's good. But yeah, I mean, it's just a flat out good deck, this. And yeah, if you can get the high main on it and a Rhino as well, you know, by that point you're pretty going to win. But yeah, another really good deck, that one. And the final deck, Rogue. So you got to love Rogue. Rogue is a great deck. Rogue is a great class, really. I've always enjoyed playing Rogue. I've got. I really want to get. I haven't actually got the new legendary, a new Barak, but I will be getting that one. But yeah, again, new cards. What new cards actually? No, not many new cards actually. It's just a Burgle, but that actually radically can change the way that you actually play. It often depends which class you're playing. If you're playing Paladin, it's very, very useful. Probably less so if against Warrior. At the moment, there's a Warrior with playing that Bash card, which can be quite awkward to play against. But yeah, with Rogue is not. Rogue is the class which is probably. I spent a lot of time playing Rogue because it's a very interesting class to play. Yeah, I mean, I like to have sprints in the hand early. Obviously, the prep sprint is always good. I also like to have Violet Teacher in the hand early. Cards I don't like to have in the hand early. Don't want Oil in the hand early. Don't want Drake. Assassin's Blade, always good late game. You can absolutely. You can go from a position where it looks like you're absolutely guaranteed to lose to winning. You know, I mean, you just think about it. Any given turn, 3 mana, you know, a Deadly Poison on that and a Blade Flurry is going to give you 10 damage, and that's just 3 mana on any given turn, assuming you can get past the Taunt. And so for 5, if you've got a Sap in hand, and assuming they don't have more than 1 Taunt, can get you guaranteed 10 face damage. It's pretty cool. Edward Van Cleef, as always, great card. Yeah, it's just you know, and the thing about the prep, right? Sometimes if you're really sort of fighting against the tide, you can do prep, Burgle, Van Cleef. And think about that. That's the. I mean, and to be honest, sometimes you can even pull it out early on. If you've got all those early on, you can do that. You can coin prep, Burgle, Van Cleef. So you can see that. So it's coin, which is 2/2, prep, which is 4/4, Burgle, which is 6/6, and then it adds onto that. So you get an 8/8 very early on, and that's always a good play. Obviously, Violet Teacher, a staple of a good road deck, and yeah, I always try. If I feel like I like to have Deadly Poison. I find that's quite a good card to have. Backstab is the card you want, because you're bound to get. You're gonna destroy anything that comes down, apart from, of course, Armor Smith. But apart from that, but you know, yeah, it's always bloody Armor Smith. But apart from that, everything will be destroyed, because nothing really comes down early game with more than 3 health. But yeah, coining Violet Teacher on its own is nearly always a pretty good idea. unless you've really fucked up the early game board and you haven't managed to clear enough. Earthen Ring Farseer, often a good to heal the Violet Teacher. Often, you know, if you get a class that's trying to just get your Violet Teacher down low for an area of effect attack, the heal on that, healing minions is actually it's unusual, it's unexpected. No one expects you to heal a minion. So when it happens, and if you can carry on, of course, getting the apprentices out, can be difficult to deal with, and then you can obviously do the trades with it. And yeah, Fan of Knives with the classic Thanos, very classic deck, but this both fits in really nicely. You can really do some. It's almost like, if you play it in a certain way, it's almost like card management, really. Obviously, prep is a bit of a waste. Prep really is for oil and sprint, of course. And of course, you want to do the thing with Violet Teachers that you sack the Violet Teacher before you play the oil, so you don't have to do it. You can't always do this, but this is obviously the way you're supposed to do it. You sack the Violet Teacher before oiling, so you don't have a non-active minion. So yeah, I think that'll about do it. Like I say, these are all pretty good decks, and yeah, I'm not sure really about the order of them or anything like that. But yeah, so we'll just go through them one last time. So it was Warlock. Just to see if I've got any final comments on these. Hellfire can be if you've got nothing early game, Hellfire can really save the game, basically. So yeah, very, very useful. Probably don't do Hellfire with Azure Drake down. No, that probably wouldn't be a good idea. But yeah, Soulfire again, because it's only discarding one, it's not that bad. But really don't want. It's not ideal to use it really. If you've got stuff in your hand like Implosion, Abusive Sergeant, then you're going to be looking at perhaps being okay to use if you're in a quite bad situation. That's my final thoughts on that. So yeah, like I say, Warlock, and then we spoke about Priest. But yeah, Priest, always a good early game is Cleric powered, should make that 1/5. It's why the Armorsmith is so difficult to deal with early game. If you can make that a Cleric a 1/5, it's going to be living for quite a while. Very unlikely you'll lose out on that. Always, of course, be aware of the Soul Priest though. When you've got a lot of these 1 and 2 attacks, you always have to be careful of stuff that can do damage. Yeah, like for instance, I've got my Paladin Day. I'm not actually going to cover this one, but I've covered it in a previous video. But like the Kodo, of course, can deal with that. So yeah, so like I say, Warlock, Priest, and then it's just Hunter. Again, just Horned Creeper is just a great card, really. When you think about the stats that you've got on it, really does a lot for its cost. And yeah, so Hunter's Mark, don't use Hunter's Mark on stuff that doesn't really need it. If you can avoid it, don't use it. But again, at the moment, there's not that many high health minions out there where it's really going to matter too much. So maybe that's why it's so popular. Timberwolf. But it's best behind a taunt, perhaps like a Misha or something, or stuff that you have. I would say put it behind a taunt, and then put the wrangle out next turn, maybe something like that. And finally, the Rogue. Like I say, it's just a good deck. SI7. You can always play flat SI7s. You can play flat Violet Teachers without the combo. If you've got backstab and you can think you can make a combo, It's always pretty useful. Obviously, if the board isn't too strong, you're going to want to put the backstab after the Violet Teacher. And the Burgle is going to be good. If the board's very empty, you can just even if nothing's really going on early game, you can often just play that. If you can play that basically for no sort of penalty, then it's going to be very, very good. And of course, Thalnos can get you out of trouble always. You know, you can take a swing, you can get 2 damage, you can fan I mean, if you have to, you can fan that Blade Flurry. Remember, because you've got 2 Blade Flurries, Blade Flurry is not so... I mean, okay, it's the only board cleared, but it's not as valuable. I've played plenty of games where I played Blade Flurry very, very early, like at least, you know, the first 4 or 5 turns, and it's not particularly negatively affected the game. That'll do for now then, so thanks for watching.